So at least you're not that chaplain, right? So this story, I love it because chaplains are like the terminal lance corporal of officers, where they're just constantly skating by, not doing a whole lot. They get so much credit. Like if you're at the ball or something like that, they always get a special shot out. They get to go up there and act like they're doing something. Chaplains, come on. But you don't need to arrest them for wearing some headphones, right, Kate? Isn't that what happened?
That is the story on U.S. Army What the Fuck Moments was, of course, the first to point it out with this little snippet that was on Facebook of a text message conversation. Did you hear that the chaplain got arrested last night by the MPs because some sergeant major had a hair up his ass about him walking in civilian clothes with headphones? To which people replied, yes, haha, only on a deployment with no mission. And that is true. They looked into it over at Army Times. In a perfect encapsulation of 21st century life on Kuwait's Camp Buring, a PA Army National Guard chaplain was handcuffed and hauled off by military police after a dispute with the installation command sergeant major. What crime was committed by Captain Justin Thomas, a chaplain who ministers to the 628th Aviation Support Battalion? The unforgivable crime of wearing headphones while walking. Rumors about the harrowing incident were first circulated by, of course, U.S. Army What the Fuck Moments, which shared the conversation I just read. Thomas described he's like a big time runner. There's articles of him talking about him being an elite marathon runner and a member of the All Guard marathon team. So he's a chaplain, but he's like a hardo chaplain. He puts in the work. And he was just
classic hardo chaplains.
Oh, he's a hardo chaplain. But he was just casually strolling.
Yeah, I'm a chaplain, but I'm like pretty badass.
But he does stuff. He can do all the crunches. He's a chaplain who can do the pull-ups, But he was casually strolling through the camp with headphones in his ears when the sergeant major, eager to enforce installation policy, attempted to flag him down. I first want to say that I don't harbor any hard feelings about this misunderstanding, Thomas told Military Times. The sergeant major was trying to do his job and enforce a policy about walking with headphones. He was trying to get my attention, but I couldn't hear him. I love the idea of this crusty sergeant major or whatever, like looking for trouble, finding it, and then the person ignoring him because he can't hear him and him just getting more and more enraged. Perhaps exhaustion factored into the chaplain zoning out. Officials didn't specify whether Thomas was on a run at the time. But again, apparently he was just strolling with his headphones in. He was subsequently handcuffed before the camp's military police took him to the station, and he had to wait for his command to come pick him up. The chaplain characterized the behavior of the MPs as very professional, adding that he was allowed to leave shortly thereafter. Of course, a chaplain acting with grace here, people. A defense official told Military Times that one soldier who went to retrieve Thomas jokingly brought along a nail file tucked away inside a Bible, presumably to aid the holy man's escape. Yeah. So we shall see. He said, how can I be a chaplain and a leader to my soldiers if I cannot demonstrate mercy, grace, and love, especially in a situation where the base sergeant major was just trying to enforce a standard designed to keep our soldiers safe? I mean, a little passive aggressive there, I think, sliding in.
Very much
he's
so.
Being overly, I don't know. How does that conversation even happen? Like, I don't, once you realize that it's the chaplain and it's not like some young troop,
right?
You kind of got to draw the dog back and then having him cuffed.
Yeah.
There has to be something.
Move.
There has to be something else. He had to have been combative, like whenever the MPs, because even with officers, like you don't, unless something extreme happens, you're not supposed to cuff officers.
Well, I think what it was because it says he might have been in civilian clothes and he might have been not wearing his uniform. And I think what it was is that he was ignoring the sergeant major. The sergeant major was like, hey, hey, hey. And he kept walking. So that's when probably the sergeant major was like, cuff him. He's not complying is what I think it was. He might have had the little earbuds in that maybe the sergeant major didn't see or something, or
noise canceling possibly. No, he
there's
obviously
something that we don't know.
Yeah,
there's
I don't think so,
because that's not like a normal thing at all. If that sergeant major so ate up at somebody who's wearing headphones that he puts them in cuffs, that sergeant major needs his.
Well, I got a DM about this from somebody over there, and they said that the sergeant major is like.
Well, here's the deal.
On one. So
have either of you ever been to Buring?
No.
It's not terrible, but it's not great. And most people are going to Buren because they're either coming from or going to theater. So it's not somewhere that people stay a very long time. So if you're someone that's permanently stationed there on a deployment, I can only imagine how annoyed you are that you're just stuck there because you know you're not going on some deployment to go do something productive. You're just in this country where nothing remotely dangerous is ever going on and hasn't gone on since Desert Storm 1. So I can imagine this Sergeant Major has nothing to do. So you're absolutely right when you say he's out there looking for trouble and he found it.
Yes.
But Chaps, like you were saying, once he says, "Hey, I'm Chaplain so-and-so, I'm Captain so-and-so," all right, sir, cool. Like, just do me a favor and take the headphones out while you're in civilian.
You're not supposed to be doing it. You to take him to the fucking MP station. What?
Well, I can also see a crusty sir. I can see the chaplain being like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm the chaplain. Let me pop those right out." And then the sergeant major being so annoyed at how polite he is, it made him even madder. Like, "Oh, you want to be sweet to me now? Huh?
Yeah,
huh?
Exactly.
I can see
what are we friends?
Apart.
What are we back on the block?
I blame the sergeant major here on this one. I think this is it's a
little much. It's a little much. And I just have to point out, I was texted by Alex during that little rant there, and she said I sounded like Buzz, where nothing remotely dangerous will ever happen. Period. Yeah. When talking about Kuwait,
I was thinking about Home Alone when Kevin gets left back and the sister's like, "Don't worry, Mom, nothing remotely interesting ever happens there." So that's
exactly. And I should also point out
references, guys.
Thank you.
We're killing it today.
It's no Rob Thomas, but
should also point out that it was DuckTales that had me believe that if you ever went to jail, a nail file baked inside a cake would always get you out. So
yeah, good.
I appreciated that joke.
The guy from Shawshank did it with just a tiny little chest hammer.
Yeah, a little rock hammer.
Yeah.
That's true.
Shout out to Andy Dufresne.
All right. Yeah. If the chaplain wants to come on the show, he's more than welcome. We want to see what his attitude is about, why he has this. Because I think either one, the chaplain has a bad attitude, or two, the sergeant major needs his head examined.
He's like the bad boy of chaplains. He like flicked a cigarette. He had a leather jacket on.
He's like, who's that guy that just got fired from the Carl Lentz? He's like the Carl Lentz of chaplains.
Yeah,
he was leaving the ladies' hooch.
If that's the case, he's doing a lot of other things besides just running with headphones.
All right, come clear your name, sir.
I don't want to say the chaplain's getting his dick sucked somewhere, but
whoa.
All right, let's move on to round number 2.